Tito, Colliander, Way of the Ascetics. Introduction. In the last 2 decades, both the degree of secularization and the extent of the resurgence of interest in spirituality have been grossly exaggerated. To some extent, the exaggeration of the former led to that of the latter. So no one saw the remarkable volte-face of those who in the 1960s had hailed the secular city and the death of God appearing equally uncritically as protagonists of Eastern mysticism in the 70s. Of course, our society never became totally secular, totally irreligious, and the current spiritual revival has not affected all groups of society to the same extent. Much of our culture remains consistently conventional, as much in its religion as in its general attitudes. And nothing is more opposed to true spirituality than conventional religion. From such religion, atheism is a liberating experience. Nevertheless, the rejection of conventional religion has led many to explore more deeply the resources of Christian traditions other than and deeper than their own. Although we have heard a good deal about the popularity of non-Christian spiritual disciplines from the East, an equally striking phenomenon has been the rediscovery of the Eastern Christian traditions. In the United States today, the Orthodox churches are an integral part of the religious scene. Yet many Western Christians are only beginning to become familiar with the riches of Orthodoxy, its theology, its liturgical life, its concern with the inner life of prayer that can do so much to enrich and deepen our often superficial religious life. It is with the spiritual tradition of Eastern Orthodoxy that Tito Colliander is concerned in this volume, originally published some 30 years ago in Swedish. Drawing on collected sayings of the holy men of the East, he presents, for the Western reader, something of the atmosphere of Orthodox spirituality. For orthodoxy is not primarily a system or a correctness of doctrinal formulations. Doxa means glory. Orthodoxy is therefore concerned with right glory, and it is therefore rooted in the sense of theology as inseparable from human transformation. The purpose of theology is nothing less than the transfiguring of human life from glory to glory. At the center of Orthodox theology and spirituality is the theme of theosis, deification, the raising of manhood into God. This is the aim of the liturgy, the Eucharistic celebration which stands at the center of all worship and all life. But the centrality of the liturgy is set against the background of what Orthodox theologians describe as the world as sacrament. The material world is the vehicle, not the enemy of the spirit. All spirituality has a material basis. As St. John Damascene expressed it, we venerate matter because the creator of matter, quote, became material, and end quote, and through matter effected our salvation. So the creation and the incarnation are at the heart of Orthodox spiritual disciplines. This participation in the liturgy and this sense of the communication of the divine through material things, expressed supremely in the icons that are so central to Orthodox worship, is taken for granted by the ascetical writers whose thoughts are gathered here. They take for granted, too, that the Christian disciple who is serious about his or her progress will have a spiritual guide, a pneumatikos pater, with whom the deepest thoughts of the soul will be shared. This valuable collection must not be read, then, as a private handbook for self-cultivation, The Orthodox spiritual guides are totally opposed to the privatizing of religion, which is so popular now. They stress the need of the common life, of the sacramental community, of the unity of liturgy and contemplation. They stress, too, the need for progress in depth and the place of prayer in the spiritual conflict. Most of all, they stress the attainment of purity of heart, of that inner stillness and silence, hesychia, that comes from the practice of the prayer of Jesus. Through such spiritual discipline, waiting on God in solitude, we come to realize that kinship to God, that we as His images share. The rediscovery of orthodoxy in the West is not only important in terms of the quest for Christian unity, it is essential if we are to recover the lost sense of the mystical and prayerful character of all theology. All theology is mystical theology. All theology is social theology. For it is rooted in the, quote, life hidden with Christ and God, end quote, and in the social life of the Holy Trinity. This unity of the mystical and the social is something we have largely lost in the West, where Christians are often divided into pietists and social activists. The Orthodox know no such distinction. Both the personal life of the heart, the Eastern term for the center of the personality, and the corporate life of human society are to be transfigured. So, the way of the ascetics is not a gloomy, world-denying path. It is a way of doxa, of glory, whose aim is nothing less than our deification. This small volume, intended to be read slowly, meditated upon, used and reused, even learned by heart, can itself become part of our spiritual resources as we move from one degree of glory to another. Kenneth Leach, 22nd of July, 1981.